Today in this training video, we will be talking about functional communication training using the PECS system. PECS stands for Picture Exchange Communication System, and this is a nonverbal way to have our students express their needs that they are acquiring, whether through play or through necessity of their needs. So for the overview of this training today, there are a couple of things that we will be discussing. First, we will do an introduction and an overview on who this training and this PECS system will be used with and for. We will also be giving research background information on this system, how we plan to implement this system, our implementation guidelines, as well as an example of how to first implement this PECS system. We will also talk through how the implementation of the PECS system addresses the need that we're currently seeing, as well as the school-wide overview of how the PECS system will be beneficial for a school-wide community. Finally, we will give some tips and tricks on how to effectively implement this into your possible school or clinical setting.
First, we'll do an introduction and overview of a scenario. We'll be talking about Willow Preschool. Willow is an inclusive preschool in an urban area. It serves approximately 250 students. 100 of those students are regular education students, and it also has 150 special education students. Their age range is from 3 to 5 years old. Approximately 50 of the preschoolers receive speech therapy. Half of the 50 preschoolers who receive speech therapy are nonverbal, and 5 of those nonverbal students already use PECS. The remaining 20 nonverbal students occasionally will point or grunt, but are not using any other form of communication currently. Willow Preschool has 24 classrooms with 8 to 12 students in each, along with a teacher and 2 assistants. There are also 2 full-time speech therapists, 1 occupational therapist, and 1 physical therapist. The school staff also includes a principal. In addition to the school staff, 4 to 6 volunteers are available daily from the parent volunteer program. Primarily, the volunteers support staff by taking the students to the bathroom and making copies for the teachers. There are 2 ongoing behavioral issues during playtime in every classroom. The challenging behaviors include fighting over toys and tantrums. In most cases, the problem occurs when a student grabs a toy from another student rather than asking for it or asking to play with them. Often this results in students fighting and or one or more students throwing a tantrum. So the research behind functional communication. So first off, what is functional communication? According to Boyle, functional communication, FCT, is a treatment of problem behaviors that are socially mediated. Let's talk a little bit about PECS, Picture Exchange Communication Systems. According to Cagliani, an aided system for communication to help those with autism spectrum disorder and other developmental disabilities as another form of functional communication for non-vocal or minimally vocal individuals.
All right, next we will talk about our implementation guidelines. So to help decrease the challenging behaviors, we are implementing centers in the classroom facilitated by the teachers and the assistants. These centers will consist of 1 student who knows PECS, 2 typical peers, 1 student currently using PECS, and 1 teacher at each station. There will be 3 centers in each classroom. Those centers will be dramatic play, OT play, Play-Doh letters, and blocks counting center. In each center, the children will have opportunities to request to their peers for certain items, and the children will also be able to respond to their peers appropriately. These requests need to be done as naturalistically as possible, so teachers will watch and help facilitate when needed. Each center will last about 15 minutes, and the student will rotate throughout the centers while the teachers stay at the designated center. So for Center 1 Dramatic Play Center, the students will be participating in playing grocery store. Students will take turns playing different parts of the grocery store, such as being the cashier or the shopper. Students will be able to take turns sharing the grocery items, such as the shopping cart and the play money, or other things listed in the outline. During the center, teachers will keep a close eye to see if the child is wanting a certain item. And if the teacher sees this, the teacher will then help facilitate the functional communication to ask for the toy appropriately to the peer. For blocks and counting, the students will be using Lego blocks where they will be asked to stack a certain number of color blocks, which is decided by the teacher. For this, the students may need certain blocks or certain colors of the blocks, and this will help with the functional communication of asking for items from peers, because their peer may have it, and the teacher can then prompt that and ask the peer for the item they need. For OT play letters, students will work on sharing and taking turns using different letter Play-Doh mats and different colored Play-Doh. Here, the child may want a different color of the Play-Doh, or maybe they want a different letter. And when the teacher sees this, they can then facilitate the functional communication using the PECS, so the child can ask for that item. And then this is just a continuation of how to use the PECS system. So the main implementation is properly using the functional communication of PECS. Here, the teacher will follow the student's natural motivation, as mentioned before, for items throughout the centers. When the teacher sees this motivation, they help facilitate the communication between peers. So that's our first step, is following the natural motivation. Then the second step is, when motivation is found, to use least to most prompting and guiding the student to demand for the item. So this will include helping select the correct PEC, so they're demanding for the correct item, taking it off, and handing it to the correct peer that has the item they want. Once the student has handed the PEC to the peer, the teacher will then switch over to the peer that has the item and help assist in responding appropriately to that PEC and sharing appropriately. This will include handing the item to the peer and handing the correct item to the peer. For all these steps, the teacher will use least to most prompting and assisting depending on each student's individual's needs and how far they are on PECS and how much they understand. So that will look different for each child.
This is a video that helps explain what the PECS system looks like, as well as an example of how it can be used with the students in the activity centers.
Hi, I'm Joe from Pyramid Educational Consultants. Welcome to this short video designed to help you get everything ready for teaching your first PECS lesson. The first and most important thing you need to have ready is something that your learner wants. We call this a reinforcer.
Like candy.
It is ideal to have at least 3 reinforcers before you begin. You can identify reinforcers by eliciting or observing 3 different behavior patterns. Look for items they exert effort to gain access to. Look for items they resist having taken away. Look for items they spend a lot of time with. These can be toys from around your home or school, food items, or anything they like. The second thing you need to do is prepare corresponding picture symbols. The pics for PECS CD or PECS 151 picture set can make this easier for you. You need to find a symbol that represents the item, and then give the picture a label so that everyone on your team names it consistently. You then need to ensure that the symbols are tough enough to last. It is a good idea to laminate them. Next, you need to apply hook and loop fastener to the symbol. We always apply the loop fastener, which is the soft side, to the symbol, and then the hook fastener, which is the hard side, to the book. Now you are ready to get started. Here are a few pointers to help you. Here is a PECS communication book. We sell these to make getting started quick and easy. In addition, we sell PECS starter kits that include all you need in one convenient set. Please look at the PECS training manual for instructions on how to implement the PECS protocol. To get a better understanding of how to implement and teach each phase of PECS, it is recommended that you attend a PECS Level 1 training. Go to www.pecs.com for information on upcoming workshop dates in an area near you. Once you have attended PECS Level 1 training or read the PECS training manual, you will need to locate another person to act as a physical prompter to assist in teaching the first phase of PECS.
Chocolate. Robot. No.
We wish you the best, and remember, we are here to support you in helping your learners to achieve their full potential. Go to www.
As you can see in the video, each student had their own PECS board with pictures of the item. They will have their own pictures for these items in each center. Their reinforcement for using the system correctly is receiving the item that they've asked for. Once this is successful in the activity center, we believe that this will drastically reduce the number of tantrums and aggressive behaviors.
Now we're going to discuss how the PECS system addresses the need. Maladaptive behaviors such as tantrums and fighting have been occurring in these classrooms. These behaviors are impacting the classroom from running smoothly. The behaviors are happening mainly due to students taking a toy out of peers' hands rather than asking for a turn. A change is needed for children to appropriately communicate their needs of wanting toys that others may be using. And now we're going to talk about final tips and tricks. When implementing this system in the classroom, the teachers and assisting staff need to ensure that all centers have the needed materials. If there is a piece of the center that is missing or broken, then the PECS should be removed from all boards until the item is replaced to ensure that all transactions can be fulfilled. Teachers and staff should also ensure that all PECS and items are in the designated place before the session starts to prevent delayed access while the students are learning to use the PECS. When teaching students, all teachers and assisting staff need to ensure that they are using the same least to most prompt system so that the students learn the same prompts with all those that are assisting them. Finally, in a case of behavior, all staff should be aware of each student's behavior support plan specifically and use the school's taught de-escalation technique. And finally, we have a list of our resources that were used for this PowerPoint in the implementation plan.
In conclusion to our training of functional communication training through the PECS system, we hope that the information that we've provided for you today will be helpful for your implementation of this system in your own classrooms or clinical settings. A couple of things just to remind you of as you are going through the PECS system yourself. The most important thing being to make sure that least to most prompting is being used. That's one of the most important parts when implementing this PECS system. In addition to that, we also stated the importance of ensuring that all your materials are there and have access. Also, just make sure that everybody knows exactly where those areas are and that every single person that works with that specific student has access to it. Also, in our Willow preschool scenario, it was stated that there are a number of other adults and volunteers and professionals that are able to provide support when needed to those other children. So my advice to you would just be to make sure that you are using those extra people and those extra guidelines to the best of your ability. If you have any questions about the PECS system or the PECS training, like the video stated, please reach out to the PECS organization to get extra support. Also reach out to the administrations or the professionals in your school setting or your clinical setting to get further information. We thank you so much for watching this training, and we wish you good luck in your implementation of the PECS system.